Hi, I'm Queen Sylvie of the multiple award-winning The Queen Sylvie Show. You want to expand and get noticed? Then come outside your box and into our world. Internet advertising has a real impact on global awareness and even sales, so let's make an impact together. Offering for a limited time advertising and sponsorship packages that excel your purpose. So contact Queen Sylvie or Smooth Tim for the exciting opportunities that awaits. Yeah.
Are you tired of driving around a dirty car? Say hello to the ultimate solution for your car. Quick Auto Detail, home, work, or wherever. Their mobile car spa will clean and shine your car anytime and anywhere. Their products are gentle on your car's paint, and they use only the highest quality materials. Book your appointment now.
Hey kids, how would you like to hear this on the screen instead of the great show you came to see? That's what you sound like. Honest. Please cooperate and do your part in keeping this theater quiet so everyone, including you, can enjoy it. Remember, lots of adults and kids, too, paid admission to enjoy the show. We must insist on absolute.
He came not with horns, but a smirk and a brand, a Twitter Messiah with ketchup on his hands. No miracles, just Medicaid cuts. No loaves and fish, just lots of golfing pucks.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rock.
Hey, what is happening, everybody? And welcome to another hump day, and glad you're spending it with me on Tim's Tidbits. Hope everybody's doing out there, doing okay, rather, and getting ready for the upcoming weekend. Hopefully some of this bad weather that's coming through on the middle of our country on up into the East Coast slows down a little bit so we can enjoy the upcoming Mother's Day. And as a reminder, fellas, make sure that you take care of the mothers in your life, or you're going to regret it if you do. In any regards, hey, quick shout-outs before we start tonight's show to those last week that listened in from the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Mexico, Germany, Poland, Africa, Ireland, France, and Australia. Thank you, folks, for tuning on in. Certainly do appreciate you spending time on Tim's Tidbits with me. Anyhow, hey, let's get into the show a little bit. And as you know, not too long ago, Trump invoked, what is it, the Alien Sedition Act, I believe it's called. Gonna have to check myself if I'm wrong. But in any regards, that was how he was the premise that they were using to deport all these people back to Venezuela. where they believe the Venezuelan government is in cahoots with this Trende de Agua, something like that, gang. And so under that premise, if they had some type of like MS-13 or whatever the hell it is on their knuckles, some other kind of tattoo, you're gone, you're out, bye-bye. But apparently, Trump is either being fed some misinformation or he's just voluntarily perpetuating misinformation. I don't know what it is, but his three intelligence agencies have told him that that's not necessarily the case, how you're associating this particular gang with the Venezuelan government. Check it out.
A newly declassified memo drafted by U.S. intelligence agencies seems to contradict one of President Trump's reasons for one of his controversial immigration policies, deporting migrants to a prison in El Salvador. Now, the memo disputes the Trump administration's claims that the Venezuelan government is working with a notorious gang. For more, let's bring in NBC News intelligence reporter Dan DeLuce. Dan, good to have you with us. So you have a new article out after getting a copy of this memo. So tell us, what does this document have to say about the relationship between this gang, Tren de Aragua, and Venezuela's government?
That's right, Joe. This memo is a reflection really of a near unanimous consensus among intelligence agencies that this gang, as dangerous as it is not being directed, it looks like, or somehow operating with coordination from the Maduro regime in Venezuela. And that, of course, was the justification cited by the president when he invoked this 1798 law, the Alien Enemies Act, to justify deporting Venezuelans to a prison in El Salvador with much less due process than normally would be accorded. So it's really contradicting the administration's portrayal of this gang's relationship to the Venezuelan regime, and I think it's going to create some political and potentially legal problems for the administration.
Should be real interesting. Like I said, I don't know where that information that our POTUS was supplied that made him put that Alien Enemies Act from the early part of our country's history into action, so that he was able. That's all the legal heads, though, he's got around him. Sometimes I'm thinking maybe some of the legal heads that he's got around him is giving him some bad advice. And maybe he needs to start searching his conscience a little bit. Is this the right thing to do, and is there a right way to go about things? Obviously, the intelligence that he's being fed or that he's feeding us is not 100% correct, not according to his three intelligence offices. Wow. Anyhow, let's get on a little bit. Besides how everybody's starting to feel the trickle-down effect of Trump's tariffs. He's got tariffs on every country in the world, and he's hitting China really hard with tariffs. A couple 100% tariff on everything, and I know there's orders being canceled, all kinds of stuff. I think he suggested that, little girls should expect a whole lot less for Christmas. Instead of getting $30, they should only get $3 this Christmas. So you may have to dial it back just a bit, but Trump says, hang on, people. But let's see how the Chinese government responded to Trump's tariffs.
Look,
How soon?
we were losing hundreds of billions of dollars with China. Now we're essentially not doing business with China. Therefore, we're saving hundreds of billions of dollars. Very simple.
You take me to my next question, which is about China. They've been making a number of public statements.
Very positive statements the last 24 hours.
Well, and most recently, they said before talks could happen, the U.S. would need to remove unilateral tariffs.
Ask my accountant about that.
Would you consider dropping the tariffs to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
China to the negotiating table?
No.
Boom. Roasted.
Oh, okay, no. Hey, and he's made a couple of remarks like that. the other day. In matter of fact, he was over the weekend. He was in the White House with the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney. He's the newly elected Prime Minister. In any regards, Mark was visiting or Mr. Prime Minister, I guess it would be a better reference. It was visiting the White House, and Trump made all kinds of interesting rhetoric, but and one of his responses was, again, would he even consider, dropping tariffs on Canada? And he's like, nope, not a chance. And it was interesting to see the Prime Minister from Canada look at Trump. And then he insinuated that he would like to, make Canada our 51st state. And after the meeting, they caught the Prime Minister outside of the White House. And here's what he had to say about it.
Première question. Good afternoon, Prime Minister Tonda McCharles, Toronto Star. I was watching your face through the meeting in the Oval Office, and I wondered what was going through your mind when the President talked about erasing the artificial border and how he criticized your predecessor and Madam Freeland.
Thank you for your question. I'm glad that you couldn't tell what was going through my mind as that was going through. With respect to the first point, the President has made known his wish about that issue for some time. I've been careful always to distinguish between wish and reality. I was clear there in the Oval Office, as I've been clear throughout on behalf of Canadians, that this is never going to happen. Canada is not for sale. It never will be for sale. Some things, as I said in the room, some things are never for sale. And he agreed with that.
Yeah. He's just off the chain. I can't believe you make that remark to somebody, an ally, and put him on the defensive like that, I really got my eye on your country. I really got my eye on your backyard. I really got my eye on whatever. Take it to what extreme you want to take it to. Anyhow, and if you follow the news, I'm sure you had to hear this shit. This is crazy. Apparently, Trump is suggesting that it may be a good idea to reopen Alcatraz. It's now a tourist destination for people visiting the San Francisco Bay Area. But President Trump thinks that it could be put to better uses. Check it out.
How did you decide to reopen Alcatraz? Can you walk us through that decision?
Did I say what?
To reopen Alcatraz, how will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing rather badly ripped up, and it was a lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz.
That was in the movie. That was Clint Eastwood, dummy.
Strong, having to do with law and order. We need law and order in this country.
Once, it was an impenetrable fortress, with notorious criminals like Al Capone and Machine Gun Kelly. Now, it's an exclusive real estate property with 1 prison cell and 300 luxury water view suites, 6 swimming pools, state-of-the-art tennis courts. And all its residents either beat the rap or got pardoned. And who better to sell units than me, the new Jan Brady? Who wouldn't want to buy property on an island with no bridge, limited ferry access, and salty air that destroys infrastructure? Why did they build a prison here? I even helped with the architectural plans. Well, finding them anyway.
Anyhow, yeah. that was funny when I was listening to him talk about Alcatraz and quoting the movie, with Clint Eastwood. And that's not true. That's just how they set it up to make it look like he had died and he could get away, if you remember. That never happened in real life. That's totally crazy. I'm sure that when he watches the Sing Sing movie, too, he was referencing that, he's got some idea for that. Lord, help us, please. Any regards. Speaking of trying to help us, there is a senator out of Florida, Jared Moskowitz, that he was talking during the hearings the other day, reviewing the budget, and it's kind of funny what he had to say about his viewpoints, and maybe that they should just doge the budget themselves.
So 100 days into the administration, Mr. Chairman, the golden age. Some are saying, many perhaps, that even William Henry Harrison had a better 100 days. But I want to talk about the economy, because that will explain my amendments. Goldman Sachs is now saying the United States will have the lowest economic growth and the highest inflation of any developed country, all related to tariffs. The Dow's down 3,000 points. Consumer sentiment has fallen 32% since Trump took office, the largest decline since the 90s. And then, there's this, Trump in January 29, 2024, after inauguration, says, this is the Trump stock market. It's his stock market. And then on April 30th, something happened, and he says, this is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. So anyway, and then today, what he said was even more interesting. He said, and even the next quarter, that will sort of be Biden's also, kind of telling us that it's going to get worse. So, Mr. Chairman, listen, in the spirit of Doge, I present to you 4 amendments that have over $900 million, some people would say that's $1 billion, okay, of savings to the American people. I decided to Doge your budget. Even though the Doge caucus in Congress is dead, it met twice. I know, I was there. It did nothing. It was never included. Instead, what we got was a executive branch Doge program that fell 80% lower than their goal. They left the E out in Doge. They didn't do anything that was efficient. They've not helped government become more efficient, just the dog part. And so what I did, Mr. Chairman, is I used the exact same metric that Elon Musk used. I just made it up. So let's just go with page 70, okay? On page 70, you want to put $700 million into the IT budget. I propose we make that $600 million, save the American people $100 million. $600 million for computers, Mr. Chairman, sounds like a lot of money. My next amendment in there is on page 75. You guys want to spend $1.3 billion to hire lawyers. You guys starting a law firm? I mean, didn't Trump get billions of dollars of pro bono work out of all of the law firms? So what I propose, Mr. Chairman, is instead of $1.3 billion, we just spend $1 billion. How about $1 billion on lawyers? That sounds like a lot of money, $1 billion on lawyers. New cars. Homeland needs new cars. So you guys want to spend $250 million on new cars. I propose $125 million. Feel like they could probably get away with $125 million in new cars, not $250. I know cars are more expensive because of the tariffs, but at the end of the day, I feel like $125 million is a lot of money. And then this one's my favorite. I don't know if you know this, but you guys have $858 million, again, almost $1 billion, okay, of money to give out bonuses to people. And so listen, bonuses are great when people do good work, but $858 million sounds like a lot of money. That's like a $40,000 bonus to every employee in all of ICE. So how about $500 million? How about $500 million for bonuses? Okay, we can do this together. We can show the American people there's like a little bit of waste here, So I can help you capture, Mr. Chairman, $903 million. We can save $1 billion together. Show the American people we're serious.
Oh, yeah, it's all a good idea. I like the idea. Make some of these budget cuts bonuses. I wish I could get a $40,000 bonus at the end of the year. That would be sweet as hell. What is up with that? You know, it's interesting that all these different cuts they're making here, there, and everywhere. And we're seeing how it affects even. I was seeing on TV the other night about how these people are boondocking in the national forest, just camping on the land, no permit, nothing, and throwing out waste. It just terrorizing the forests that we are supposed to be able to enjoy, because Doge has made enough cuts that they're no longer to be able to get out there and even enforce any laws that you're not allowed to do this and you need to go. So I don't know. They're more interested in attacking our ability to get Social Security, our ability for our veterans to get the care they need. Then I don't know where their heads at sometimes. As this senator had said, hey, there was no efficiency in this reduction in the government workforce at all. And some of it has to do with, you look what's going on when they're taking some of the artifacts, for instance, out of the National Historic Museum, rather, and or Museum of National History. But are your civil rights under attack? I want to ask you that. Are your civil rights under attack? And to what extent are they going to try to, erase, what they want to refer to as woke culture, and revert back to, discrimination never happened and it doesn't exist in our country, and you're not being held back necessarily because of your skin color, sex, or religious beliefs?
The Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division under President Trump has made a seismic shift in enforcement of equal protection laws in employment, housing, and education, leading to more than 100 lawyers resigning from the unit. Civil rights groups argue the reforms are a rollback of decades of racial and economic progress. For tonight's interview, Mark Morial, president of the National Urban League, which has joined legal challenges of those executive actions. Mark, we're going to get to those.
Hey, John, thank you.
We're going to get to those legal challenges in a minute. Just give us, though, the history of the Civil Rights Division in the past and why it's been important.
So the Civil Rights Division was created in 1957 by a Civil Rights Act passed by the Congress after Brown versus Board, after the Montgomery bus boycott, with the very specific intent of enforcing the then civil rights laws. In 1964, with the passage of the Civil Rights Act, it gained a much more vigorous, if you will, role with the Voting Rights Act and the Fair Housing Law. Its mission is clear. Its mission is to protect those who've been historically locked out and left out in this nation. And what we see is an effort to flip that entire mission on its head.
What changed?
Already with the polling numbers, John, the public is weighing in. They don't support, they don't like, they don't embrace this direction, particularly when it comes to civil rights. Most of the polling shows that when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, the American people do support it. They believe it's helpful. They believe it's necessary.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. Let me know how you feel. I'd love to see it in the comment section. Exactly how do you feel about the attacks on your civil rights? They're slowly but surely grinding it away, kind of the same way the Colorado grinded away the Grand Canyon. It just happens over time until, now, geez, can you believe what happened? Don't stand back and let it happen. Anyhow, speaking of some interesting things that happened, the scandal about the people that were unintentionally invited in on that meeting app. Well, apparently that meeting app is not as secure as the government had hoped, because it has some serious flaws, and two hackers absolutely decided to point out those flaws and send them in to the government saying you're using the wrong app when you have telecommunications within your organization.
The messaging app Telemessage has suspended its services after hackers claim to have breached it and stolen files.
Yeah, the app was seen in use last week by President Trump's former national security advisor, Mike Waltz, more than a month after he accidentally added a journalist to a Signal group chat discussing military strikes in Yemen.
So NBC News reporter Kevin Collier has been following this. He joins us now with more. Kevin, good to have you with us. First of all, just tell us a little bit about the Telemessage app. How does it work, say, compared with an app like Signal, and how secure is it supposed to be?
So Signal is basically the best-in-class publicly available secure chat app. It goes over our shared Wi-Fi and through our shared towers, but it's encrypted while it does that. Telemessage is basically an unlicensed and cloned version of Signal that automatically makes an unencrypted backup of every message. It's a way of abiding by laws that require government officials to retain records of conversations, but it also means kind of trusting this tiny company with all of these conversations.
So what are we learning about this particular security breach? How did it happen, and just how serious is it?
So there are two separate incidents, two separate hackers who got into it over the weekend. One I spoke with and one who spoke with the tech publication 404 Media. Both hackers described the technique they used to get in as just trivial for a moderately skilled hackers. In short, we don't know the full extent of what they were able to steal, just that they were able to get in pretty easily. So the two big questions that are looming here are that, A, did any of these hackers take backup messages that were related to national security conversations like Mike Waltz would have? And B, did any foreign intelligence services also hack this company?
Interesting questions. So yeah, Waltz, and now that's funny because Waltz no longer, our national security director. Trump, reassigned him, got him out of there, and gave him a new hat. I think he's with the United Nations. He's representing us, so now he can he can leak all those other nations' personal information. I bet he's going to have an interesting circle of friends. They'll stay about 3 feet away from him. This guy cannot be trusted with secrets. It'll leak it all over the place. Anyhow, with everything that's going on, it's crazy. Last show, I believe, or it may have been 2 shows ago, actually, showed you a response to some Klan members or white movement members, what have you, that showed up in a village just on the north side of Cincinnati, Ohio. And the response of the community a week later when they protested and was walking around with armed citizens, what they considered, protecting their children from these white extremists. But anyhow, there was a community that was down in Georgia that questioned about, let's call it a social studies test that was performed at or around their school. Check this out.
Earlier this month, parents say children found signs reading whites only and coloreds only posted in hallways, leaving students confused and upset. The Rockdale County School District says that the signs were part of a social studies lesson, but admit it wasn't approved under district guidelines. Well, during the news conference, organizers said the displays send the wrong message in 2025.
In the year 2025, that's sending the wrong message to our young people because they can grow up to hate other races, and we don't want that. I know it's a part of our history, but let it go now, and we got to move forward.
The district says its investigation is ongoing.
Yeah, I bet it is. Well, I mean, I can't even try to understand the philosophy or the motivation behind the school thinking this would be a good idea to convey how it used to be. Whereas some of these other adults had better opinions. It actually doesn't just perpetuate hate and I don't know. I have no idea. Speaking of things that are going on, let's focus on St. Louis, Missouri. We'll pick on St. Louis, Missouri just a bit right now. And I don't know how many people have ever had to deal with having your car towed. Maybe it was parked illegally. Maybe the police impounded it for one reason and or the other. But in this case, this happens to be a police impound lot. It happens to be under investigation for some improprieties in the vehicles that were towed and what happened to them after they were in the lot. Check this out.
Yeah, that's to say the least. One after another, whistleblowers are once again coming out of the woodwork to say something is rotten in the city tow lot. Each of them raising their complaints with their bosses in years past. One of them with 5 on Your Side's I-Team 4 years ago. And each of them was transferred out of the department or fired. One worker told me what's going on at the city tow lot amounts to highway robbery.
For 23 years, Angelica Woods worked for the city of St. Louis. This
They know how to go in there and change the numbers and the name.
was her last day on the job.
I was a whistleblower.
According to court records, in a federal jury trial awarding Woods $257,000 in damages, the city's former streets department director terminated her for talking to 5 on Your Side and blowing the whistle on shady deals at the city tow lot. So why did she risk her job?
Because a lot of cash was being taken under the table here. It was a lot of corruption within City Tow.
Now, at least 2 other former tow lot employees are coming forward to say they witnessed similar behavior between 2020 and 2023.
And a lot of the employees was taking the cars and benefiting for themselves.
George Hooker worked for the city for 14 years.
We have an auction here. The people that don't redeem the cars within 30 days, we sell them. So I was the auctioneer over here.
He says he signed papers to become a government whistleblower.
They promised me that I was protected under it, but I still got moved. Yeah, I still got moved.
That's when he claims Mayor Jones, former streets director, transferred him off the tow lot and buried him in work.
Bethany is the one that transferred me. She transferred me because I was complaining to her about what was going on down here.
A third whistleblower, the former commissioner of the tow lot, says he was railroaded almost immediately during his probation period.
Once I started ruffling feathers, they got me out of there pretty quickly.
Now, after a blistering audit raised big questions.
There was $80,000 missing, and then they said they could not find 586 vehicles that had been towed there.
Comptroller Donna Behringer handed the audit and additional evidence over to federal prosecutors.
That's what happens when you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar.
And Mayor Kara Spencer is reacting tonight saying, quote, this audit, which was quietly released in March, should not have been swept under the rug. That was released just during the election season, quietly too. The audit now calls to convert from cash payments at the toll lot window to online payments and to collect and track all those records in a digital transparent log.
Corrupt ass. You wonder how many people were involved in that and how deep that scam was, you know? From the people on the streets that were starting the tow to the property owners sometimes it could even be apartment buildings. I've seen them come in and do a quick scoop and scoot on a lot of vehicles and then, rig them up later on so that they're safe. But to get them the hell out of there so that they can get their tow money, throw it into the impound lot. But, hey, in any regards, like I said, this is cops. So they could still be in cahoots with tow companies. They could be, obviously, there was a system going on there that they were, taking funds from people, getting the money out, or their car out of impound and pocketing the money. $80,000? Any regards, people, hey, who do you trust? I don't know. Apparently, you can't trust leaving your home unattended because what we've talked about before, sometimes you will get somebody who will just move right on in. I'm talking about squatters. And sometimes it can take a process of forever to get these people the hell out of your property because I don't know why the courts take so long and why you can't just have the cops come in and force them out, but you can't. So this man had a alternative idea. How about, if I can't get them the hell out of my house, maybe I'll just move in with them.
Chicago man says he did the unthinkable when he discovered alleged squatters in his property. He decided to move in with them. Marco Velasquez is the owner of this Southside property, which is on the market to be sold. He says his realtor came by with a potential buyer, but there was already people inside.
I couldn't believe it. It was like a nightmare.
Velasquez says a woman named Charmaine and her boyfriend Codero moved in, claiming they recently purchased the property. He says the couple showed police this mortgage document, But Cook County confirms they don't see this mortgage on record. Velasquez's realtor recorded this video as the couple explained to police they had a right to be there.
Y'all bogus right now. I listen, bro.
He says police told them under Illinois' current law, they couldn't remove anyone.
I said I'm not moving out, and I said at the one point they gotta leave. They gotta get tired of us being in the property. I called a couple of friends, stay overnight, and I knew they were not gonna like that.
So you're telling me that you and your friends came in and moved in with them?
Yes.
Velasquez says he, his wife, and their friends got a few air mattresses and spent the night with the alleged squatters.
We stayed in the living room. We were watching all the time the door. They stayed in one of the bedrooms.
The next morning, he says he realized they were not budging.
They're like, oh, well, we want $8,000.
Velasquez says they negotiated. He had the couple sign a cash for key agreement, and he paid them $4,300 to leave.
We wouldn't want to give them money, but we heard, really bad stories about squatters taking over properties 6, 8, 10 months, even a year.
Velasquez says weeks later, a CPD detective called them, informing them that one of the alleged squatters is the same woman accused of squatting in Marcia and Carlton Lee's home after leaving his property. In the Lee's case, Shermaine Powell Gillard was arrested and charged with burglary, forgery, obstructing identification, and criminal residential trespassing. In the meantime, Velasquez says he's working with a detective, and he hopes action is taken in his case, too.
I heard stories before about squatters. I never thought it was going to happen to me.
The accused squatter, Shermaine Powell Gillard, said claims that she is a squatter are false and unfounded, and wrote, quote, innocent until proven guilty. We also reached out to her alleged boyfriend, Codero, but have not heard back. CPD did not confirm if they are currently investigating this new case, and no one has been arrested or charged in this case.
Isn't that sad? People just, and there just basically isn't jack shit you can do about it. That is just crazy. So, hey, be cognizant. You have your house for sale. I mean, so I don't know, what advice to give you. But, yeah, that people can come in and just, why you can't get them off your property? It's just insane to me. Laws and how they're twisted. Sometimes, they don't always protect the innocent, unfortunately. Anyhow, speaking of trying to protect the innocent, I talked to you last week about this scam, and guess what? Some people weren't listening, so I'm going to tell you again. The $20 scam, and be aware of what's happening. These crooks are out to get your dollars, or maybe not your dollars. Let's call it your EBT, or your debit.
It is absolutely devastating for this one family. I mean, this is a distraction scam that is targeting unsuspecting shoppers. And by the time they realize that something is wrong, their bank accounts have been drained.
This has to stop. How many other people is this happening to?
Irvin Nelson of Reseda is one of several victims of the $20 distraction scam that continues to play out at grocery stores.
This is your $20. I found it. I'm giving it back to you. She said this should be, good for you. It's good for both of us. I'm giving you back your money.
It turned out to be anything but good. Within minutes of that encounter with two strangers outside this Albertsons in Reseda, thousands of dollars were drained from Irvin and his wife's bank accounts.
Altogether, they got $5,980.
Fox 11 News first told you about this $20 scam 2 weeks ago.
My heart sank because my debit card wasn't there.
It was the same scenario. Two strangers, a man and a woman, approached Sarah at a Ralph's grocery store just a few miles from where Irvin was scammed. Here's how the scheme works. While a shopper pays with a debit card, the thieves stand close enough to watch them enter their PIN. Then they follow the victim outside and pull the "you dropped a $20 bill" routine, a distraction that lets them get close enough to steal their ATM card.
I had no idea she took it. I had no clue until I got to the Kaiser and saw my ATM card was gone.
In both cases, the thieves withdrew thousands of dollars from ATMs and through bank tellers at Chase. Irvin and Jennifer say they don't understand how the bank allowed such large withdrawals without checking identification.
If you go on Chase's website, under the protocols, it says for $5,000 they should be asking for an ID. Why was that not done?
To make matters worse, Both Irvin and Jennifer say Chase is refusing to refund the losses, claiming the withdrawals may have been authorized by sharing their PINs with the thieves.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I kept asking them if they've ever looked at the video footage because, in that bank, every inch is covered by a camera.
We contacted Chase Bank and we were told they are reviewing their customers' cases. They advise customers should protect personal account information, ATM pins, passwords, and one-time passcodes.
I don't know what they needed to investigate. How about you review the footage and see it wasn't me that withdrew this money?
There you go. Yeah, wouldn't that be simple? Look at the picture. But they probably had to say, you had somebody else go up and get it. I don't know, whatever. Try to BS that Chase Bank might hand you. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Chase myself, but that's my own personal opinion. But, and you know what they say about opinions. But, hey, as I said, they do that like a quick card switch. As they're trying to, let me just give you that 20. If they get their fingers down close to your wallet, they'll do that quick switch, grab your debit card and put that 20 in your wallet, and you don't even see him palming your card. Look it up on YouTube. What's Tim talking about? Look up a card switch. But in any regard, hey, let's move on. One of the features that I like to have on the show is a segment I like to call, Dude, Seriously? What the fuck? And this what the fuck moment is, I don't know whether to say that these guys are brave, skilled, or just strictly insane, or what the hell was on the mind when they decided they'd try this stunt.
I hope they don't do that. I can't watch this.
Can you look that way, and I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, where are your videos?
What? I really ought to be.
Oh, nobody threw back. Oh, take a picture of me before I die.
What's going on in your pocket, dude? Like, no,
it's camera. Is that it? So just live out there. Okay. Oh, now what's he gonna do? Sit there and stand it without being tethered. Okay, this is now a couple people being tethered. What is it in scuba diving? Plan your dive and dive your plan?
That's
oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, hell. He must be used to...
I can't believe you're going to jump that gap like that on those shale rocks. And, they look like that for a reason. The weather's gotten to them. The water's originally got to them. I think that goes right back to where I said how the Colorado River developed the Grand Canyon. There's a good example you can see for yourself. Don't let that happen to your rights. I believe I mentioned that earlier about 4 segments ago. But in any regards, if you missed it, you can catch it on the replay. Let's move on, and another part of the show, just before I wrap it up and get on out of here, that everybody loves, is our Asshole Award. And who could have won this week's Asshole Award? And that is, oh my goodness, it's a gentleman who just did not appreciate having a bike path, or a bike path shared with what he considered his hiking path. I don't know what his philosophy was on this whole thing, but in any event, hey, check this out. Tell me what you think.
Well, a bizarre crime in Westchester County. Police say a man was purposely putting tree limbs and other debris along a trailway used by mountain bikes, putting them in potential danger.
Investigators received several reports on this, but then the mountain bikers took matters into their own hands, placing a camera along the trail, and it worked.
The first video didn't show enough to identify the person responsible, but this one, taken in March, did the trick. Police arrested 44-year-old Jeffrey Jarvis of Peekskill.
There must be a reason, I have no clue, but he's been a very good guy, very good neighbor, awesome family. So, yeah, it's shocking, yeah.
Lee says his group aims to peacefully coexist with other park goers, some who might want to keep bikers off the trails.
Well, you know what? He well deserved the Asshole Award. Yes, he did. Yeah, you could hurt somebody really seriously. I mean, that was beyond being an asshole. That was just stupid. Yeah, you could imagine somebody going down one of those hillsides at an accelerated speed on a bicycle. You could break your damn neck. If you didn't kill him, they'd be a paraplegic. He should be ashamed of himself. Yeah. Anyhow, we're getting the hell on out of here because I want you to enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening, and because I'm going to get out of here and enjoy the rest of mine. So I'll tell you what, hey, I hope I tuned you in on a couple of things that you hadn't heard about, or made you maybe smile about some of the crap that you had to put up with throughout the entire week. In any regards, I do appreciate you sticking around and enjoying the show with me. And with that in mind, I am out of here, and you enjoy the rest of the show and your weekend. Bye now.
Yo, excuse me. Who goes there?
I have been summoned by the king.
Ah, yes, you must be the fair maiden he spied during the festival. Here for sexual congress, are you?
I believe that is the idea. I am very excited.
Very well. My name is Flavius. I am the royal blowjob tester. Let us commence.
Excuse me?
My name is Flavius. I am tasked with testing the king's blowjobs before he receives them. For safety?
I'm sorry. Am I supposed to just give you a blowjob?
Was I not being clear?
But I only want to give the king a blowjob.
Madam, this is to ensure the safety of the king, and by extension, that of the entire kingdom.
What danger to the king could there possibly be in a blowjob?
What danger? To begin, perhaps you planted poison pills in your jowls.
Has that ever happened?
Or an assassin might put poison on her hand. The king does insist upon vigorous manual stimulation, so make sure you do some of that during the, test.
I bear no poison, sir.
We shall see. There's also the grave matter of teeth. If you were to bite
I have heard the king finds biting rather sexy.
No one finds biting sexy. If you're even to attempt it, I shall forbid you from pleasuring the king for his safety and that of the entire kingdom.
It seems like you just want a blowjob.
How dare you? How dare you? I have sworn the highest royal oath to protect the genitals of His Majesty at all costs, even that of my own life. Now do me a favor and tickle the balls a little bit.
Tickle your balls?
You are going to tickle the king's balls, are you not? It's kind of the best part.
What I do with the king's balls is between me and the king.
And the royal blowjob tester?
Sir, I do not understand these laws. I know not how to proceed.
Very well. In order to get the king his satisfaction in due course, I shall verse you on the proper protocol.
What do you mean, protocol?
I can advise you on how to make the blowjob a little bit safer. For example, you might go deeper, or say in a few filthy words, or maybe a little eye contact.
For the safety of the king.
And that of the entire kingdom. Yes.
Very well. Let's get this over with.
Poison! God save the...